folks are just not getting it. It really has to do with people. We're heading over to folks that are doing social media well. And this is the San Fernando Center for Displaced Persons. And this particular page came up to my profile, I think last week. And I want to give you a bit of a backstory before, and if you know of any NGOs or have somebody in mind who works at one, please have them reach out to me, because I would love to do a regular feature with NGOs. But I remember having a discussion with a friend about wanting to give back. And, you know, the bottom line is people are lazy. We are just lazy, and it is not necessarily lazy in mind. It is more along the lines of you do things very mindlessly, because there's only so many things you could put your mind towards. And it may sound bad, but it's important for NGOs to get themselves out there. And my friend and I were discussing the fact that, you know, it's hard to find NGOs to easily sign up for. I mean, kudos to the TTSPCA. They have a donation online. Outside of that, I don't think, you know, a lot of other NGOs do a good job of telling a story. And it's important to tell a story, one, and two, have an action. And let me show you why that is important. So this particular page came up onto my news feed, and there was a particular post that came out, and this is when they just opened. And what they have done is, this is a post right here. Let me show you what I mean. I don't know who's running this. If you know somebody who's running it, please tell them I say woo woo. You know, even just seeing this, I want to go there and help, you know. And there are specific days and so forth that they do that for. So, but this was the officially launched night of the shelter. And what it did is it gave you insight. It gave you specifically what you can do. And that is inputting money in a bank account. And that's important when you're creating content. We tend to have a generic, oh, this is who we are, oh, this is great. No, you need to have a call to action. So you don't have folks sliding into your DMs and your comments going, what about this, what about that? That's the equivalent of people sliding in and saying, sliding in for DMs for price, you know? No, they have clearly stated, you know, they've launched, and if you want to help, this is where you need to go, and these are the people you need to call. Obviously, I'll opt for an email, but I mean, if you know the folks, tell them, I'll set them up. It's pretty easy. But this is a good example, and this got 580 comments and close to 5,000 shares. And I shouldn't say it's just, because this took effort, and it's very admirable, and it's something that we need across so many different boroughs in Trinidad. But how do we replicate this for the other NGOs? Because this type of information is important. Because what it also does is we have a tendency to not trust, right? Because let's be honest, we're living in a world where sometimes people get duped into something. You know, it's not necessarily the most common thing, but it's the thing that's most viral, and that's what we see. I personally think, 90% of people agree. But what this does, in addition to sharing that information, is it allows the person to be invested into the journey. And since then, they've been posting regularly. I saw a specific company, Bermuda's Biscuits, donated specifically to the shelter. So what that does now is encourage other businesses to realize, okay, if they're doing it, let's be honest, we do things based on other people's actions. And this is one of the reasons why I think this page and this particular charity is doing an amazing job. And you know, if you can check it out, the San Fernando Center for Displaced Persons. I'm going to put the link after I'm finished to give you insight to it, but you can check it out on Facebook. And let me know if you have any other NGOs that would be available. Yes, Shanaka definitely provides proof and even gets suggestions. And it's so interesting because it seems simple, well, for me anyways, because it's a space I'm in and folks are just not getting it. It really has to do with people. You know, you can be selling a shoe, but I want to see you. Especially when you're a small business, when you don't have the finances, you know, as Amazon, for instance, you don't have the ability to run a $1 million campaign. People invest in people, and the more they see of that, especially when it's people that look like us and talk like us, we tend to relate and react better to that.